All right, everyone, it is a beautiful morning, so that means it's time for probably the last garden update before things begin sprouting. Right now, there's not a whole lot of activity, but a lot has already been planted. Did some more yesterday and prepared another area. There's only one more to go for this season, and that's over in this corner for the corns and beans. I decided to switch it up a little. I'll explain why in a minute. We've got our seedlings, lots of them. They're all doing pretty well. The cucumbers, you can see, those are doing just about perfect. By the way, next year, I'm definitely using the biochar mix for all the seedlings. I had an experimental mix, and I'm also using these better peat pots than the ones that I got. The biochar mix does boost the growth of plants. You can see these peppers are all doing very well. The extra carbon, I think, keeps them from getting leggy, even though they've been in there longer. The regular seed starter doesn't boost them as much, but the thing is I had to plant them weeks later because the first batch was experimental. Most of those plants actually got destroyed and replaced because that was just to tell whether or not that stratum was worth making. The answer is yes. So I'll be using the biochar charged mix next year, but of course, you know, you don't need to plant them, you know, 9 weeks ahead of time. Here I've put in a couple rows of turnips, actually, and there's some chamomile plants in there. They've all taken. They're doing fine. 3 little rows of spinach there, and then where that wooden stick is, all of that out there on the sides, those 2 darker furrowed rows where I put the composted manure, and that's all peas. So there's going to be a lot of peas, and in the middle it'll be cucumbers. But I think I'm not even going to need that entire space for the cucumber plants. I'll trellis it all off for the peas and cucumbers. I don't think I'm going to need the entire row. So in the end, I'm thinking about transplanting a bunch of garlic, actually. Take this clump out, transplant it. Garlic's pretty hard to kill. You can do that pretty much anytime. And then I'll have another little square here where I can put in a tomato plant, a pepper, something. I've already got one on this side, so it'll just sort of be even. The carrots are in here, 2 rows. All the way down in the middle will be tomatoes, actually. Again, though, I don't think I'm going to need the entire row. So on the ends, I can put in some more spinach or, you know, whatever I want to. Here we've got, of course, the beets. 4 rows of beets there. Those are important. There's some cabbage in here, and lined it with pennies, actually, to try to keep slugs and snails out. A couple more chamomile. This hasn't been determined yet. The okra will go in here, and the cotton plants will go in here. Probably in 2 rectangles, but that's only going to take up 2/3 of that bed. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to go on the end again. Yeah, whatever you want, basically. I'm going to have some more of these plant pots, by the way, lining the sides here, and just put some flowers in there, just for decor. I like that for the pollinators. This is Swiss chard. You got some catnip, you got more chamomile, more garlic. It's everywhere this year. The herbs haven't been put in yet. It's close to time. I'm carefully monitoring the weather forecast for that. No potatoes or onions sprouting yet, but there's going to be a lot of them. I mean, you think about it, 36 potato plants, that's a lot of potatoes. 2 big-ass rows of onions should be enough, I would think, if they're properly stored. I can't wait for the pak choy to come up because I want to make fucking stir-fry. Over here, I planted another chamomile right there on the end. These little pink bushes, they're impossible to kill. And best soil in the garden. I mean, this is basically pure cow shit right now. And of course the collard area. I might actually plant just another row of collards, and I mean, it depends on where the hot weather crops actually are going to go. I'm going to have to measure it off. And if I do have room, I wouldn't mind having an extra row of collards. That'd be nice. I like those. See the Dictamnus alba, how quickly it grows. And unfortunately, can't really transplant it, so when it goes to seed, I'm going to try to get some more of them going. I wouldn't mind if this whole bed here became nothing but a gas plant patch, because I'm going to be pushing that fence out, so I'll have 2 more long beds there and on the other end. And so I can dedicate a little bit more space to just decorative stuff. Now these, originally they were going to be on the other side. But everyone complained to me that they wanted me to keep this berry bush here, which we'll try to sucker into those beds, but for this year it won't be a problem. And it does look like it's going to have a hell of a lot of berries on it. It's black raspberry bush, so I was like, okay, all right, I'll change my plans up. And I decided to put these little mounds here. Each one has a half a bag of composted manure in it mixed in, and just mound it up so it has decent drainage. And we'll have 3 cantaloupes and a couple of pumpkin plants, actually. There's also a watermelon plant, but I don't know if that's actually going to do anything. I can always put it over there and just get it closer to the fence or something, I suppose. I don't really care. I don't eat watermelon, so I mean, that's not for me. That's for other people. More beets, of course. I just couldn't help myself. I want pickled beets up the ass this year. And so in the middle, peppers. In the middle here, peppers again. That'll be where they can grow. I can get 7 plants between those 2 beds, because of course this area, this is all salad mix. That's just a mix of lettuce from Heritage Heirloom Seeds. I can't wait to plant in all the herbs. This is definitely going to be a showpiece. I'm going to have a little bench here. I'm going to split up that wood that's laying out in the field. See, there's a tree down there. I'm going to smooth it off, and I'm going to cut it into lengths. And I'm going to flatten one side, put it down these bricks for a little extra drainage, and then I'm going to have a little bench to sit on. It'll be fun. Yeah, I'm also going to be doing some gardening at the new rental property that we've got. Well, let me show you the back bed, because there's a couple little derelict beds there where there's not much going on. And I figured that'd be nice. Put in some chamomile. There's a million irises already on that property, though, so I don't need to transplant any of those. Maybe some lilies. I would like to get that lily patch there. I would kind of like to remove it, because it's just in the middle of the lawn, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now we can see the progress back here. Munched through it the other day, weeded it out pretty well. There are still some weeds in there. I can go through it again, though, in a few weeks, and it's fine. I finally transplanted these horseradish plants that had literally been in a bin of soil in the office for an extended period of time. I got 6 plants, and I put them in here, and, you know, they're taken. Kind of hard to destroy them. You know, they've got a lot of nutrients in their roots, and so they can take a bit of abuse. This one's a little bit on the leggy side, but it should still live. There's some irises, more of the pink bushes, lilies. There's some rhubarb in there. Those kind of got neglected for a number of years, so there's 3 plants there. They should do fine, though. Have to mess around with them. There's some chamomile scattered around. I'm going to leave some of the chamomile back here. I transplanted some of it, but the plants that are still back here, I do want them to produce, because I would like more chamomile in the bed. Unfortunately, the asparagus didn't do so well. You can see this is putting out little asparagi, or whatever you'd call them. Only like 2 or 3 little stalks of it, so not going to get any asparagus. The other 2 that I attempted to transplant in here, unfortunately they died. And so there's a bare spot there. I'm going to put something in. I don't know exactly. The Russian sage died too. But everything else overall did fine. The sedum is alive. I've got to get rid of that grass patched around it. I've got to dig through it, but I want to let it establish itself a little bit more. So some of the transplants, you know, you get a little bit of grass with it. Let's take a look at them nettles. Oh yeah, look at all the stinging nettles. Yeah, they are fucking tasty, by the way. Saute them with butter and a bit of garlic. That's a lot of stinging nettles. They tried to get into the bed here, but I shuffled them on their merry way. More and more are coming up the whole time. They've spread into the woods and everything else. What you do is you just chop them off. I mean, you could harvest some now if you wanted to. Saute them with butter and garlic. That's literally all you need. It tastes like a better version of spinach with a little bit of lip tinglies. Mostly, though, I want this for nettle water. Yeah, I'm going to get a pail of water, and I'm going to let a bunch of nettles rot in it for a few weeks. It adds proteins, iron, and all sorts of good shit that plants love, especially the rhubarb, by the way. They love iron. And it helps plants' immune systems. I've mentioned this before. Well, yeah, all of these beds have been amended. There's 1 more to build, and then that's the maximum extent of the garden for this year. It's larger than it was before. You know, this entire row wasn't here, and there was nothing going on closer to the house than the potato patch, so, you know, the corn and bean patch is also novel. Once I do the biochar this fall and get that into the beds and stuff. I'll clear this center area out. This will be expanded, that'll be expanded, and then, you know, expanding the fence in at least one of those two directions will be necessary, because otherwise we'll run out of space. There's going to be a lot more people eating the crops this year, so yeah, hungry mouths to feed, and this is the way to do it. This is where your vegetables come from. They do not actually just grow on the shelves in a grocery store. I just thought I'd point that out for anyone, any liberals out there that are still confused about that dynamic. Really looking forward to it. I mean, God, you've got 2 rows of carrots. I don't know how many feet long that is. Should probably measure these beds. I don't know exactly how much square footage I have. That's gonna be formidable. And carrots love tomatoes, and I love both of them very much. That's about all. Peace out.